you can find the video for Shamika on YouTube. I realized I wasn't recording. So this is just going to be the last bit of discussion, the filling in and the other bit for the thing. And that's on me. I think it's because I started a bit later. And so I got distracted in setting things up and forgot to hit record. But recording now, so apologies to anyone who was watching or is watching this with the intent of so anyone who's watching the YouTube, sorry that the start of this isn't here. Three in what time zone? What are you asking? I post that I try to start at 3 p.m. EDT, which is Eastern Daylight Time. I am in a spot that still that practices daylight savings time, and so depending on where you are, you might not be somewhere that adjusts, and so I don't want anyone to get confused when they're trying to tune in or something and they're an hour off, an hour early or an hour late, because depending on the time of year and whether or not you are somewhere that has daylight savings time, it might be off. I found out not that long ago that there's a difference between EST and EDT, Eastern Daylight Time, and Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time is constant throughout the year. Eastern Daylight Time varies depending on whether or not daylight savings time has happened or not. It's East Coast time in the United States. The vast majority of the United States has daylight savings time. Some spots don't. You got on extra early because I was late starting. So sorry about that. Hello, Lorlo. Fiona's pretty well known. Fiona Apple. She released an album earlier this year that gained a lot of critical acclaim. She had the most pop culture popularity in the mid 90s, but she's continued to create music and it's been very good. Just has a different and it's a different campaign for promoting the music and such. I'm about ready to switch to using a chisel brush. Is this one I was using? Thanks, Marcelo Siva. Sorry, I was laughing. I got a text. Good luck with your drawings and paintings and such. Hello, DeWilkes. Thank you, Artemimus. Don't know Yuyoi Kusama offhand, but I might know. It seems familiar. Does he have all the flowers and 3D figures? Or is Yuyoi Kusama, that's the woman, isn't it? My bad. Isn't it? Woman who does a lot of dots and patterns, and more recently is known for her infinity rooms. which I went to one of those because I got invited to an Instagram meetup thing where I didn't know anybody. She has an interesting history. And is highly committed to her artwork. Let me look. If I'm saying the right person. Yuri Kusama. Yeah. She's like 90 or something now. She has a lot of dots and patterns and repeating elements. Very bright colors. She has a lot of gourds, squashes. She likes those shapes, it seems. I believe that she's Japanese. That name is very Japanese. I'm aware of the doodle guy or whatever. He's someone who uses a lot of prink markers and stuff like that. Daubers to create very expressive but consistent lines that have a little bit more of a cartoonish feel to them. I'm familiar with that dude. think I have any. I've done some work on shoes, and the jewelry that I have is stuff that I've made when I was messing around with electro etching. I'm not. Wait, I might know Romero Brito. Does he, or is that a collective? I don't know offhand. There's a chance that I would recognize the visuals of their work. I did last night. I'm not sure what you're getting at. I didn't do two animations in one exactly. What I did was I combined two animations that I had completed that start with the same position and can transition into one another, so it becomes modular. But that was just showcasing those two different animations. It gets a bit confusing if I combine all the animations and I'm posting new ones and old ones simultaneously. Once I'm done, I'll probably post something where it combines all of the elements, all the letters. But in the meantime, it's confusing for people looking at things, especially since Instagram is non-linear. The timeline is based on an algorithm. It's not chronological. It means that whatever I post, it gets mixed up. It's not always what I put first, then second, then third. So it becomes pretty confusing if I have something that I'm building slowly. And I post the same elements over and over again. Thank you. I enjoy that you enjoy them. It's not a practical thing to be posting for the feed. Because I already posted the A and then I posted the B, but it's a lot to then post the A and the B together because it's stuff that's already available. And so it confuses people sometimes, or they think they've already seen something when there might be something new added to it. So for the moment, it's easiest and best for me to maybe showcase them here so that I can explain things and give a context. But when it comes to being on my page as a post, it's a bit confusing. maybe like halfway through, then I can post a combination of it all, because then it will be enough of a time delay since when I posted the A. So people will be like, oh, this is back, or like, oh, now it's continuing through. It's also a longer form item where it takes a little bit more time investment. And if people are spending time and they don't necessarily understand that it's an unfinished project, then that's unintentionally misleading. Because someone might join up and be like, oh, it's the whole alphabet, and then it stops at D and they're confused, and that doesn't make for a good relationship with an audience if you're confusing them in any way. The Shamika video's like about 4,000 frames. I knew how many I had done when I was working on it, but now I'm doubting myself. I worked on that for a few months. Thank you. I worked on it over a period of a few months. Thank you, Alex. It wasn't more than 4 months. I really don't have a good sense of time this year. And working on something like that has a different sense of how long it takes because of feedback and delays and timing and organization of stuff and multiple people involved, different parties. And so it's not purely work when you're working on something on that sort of scope and scale. It's a mixture. Well, it's just anytime that you're working for a client, there's going to be at least two people involved, you and the client. But when you're working with the client that has representation, or as a company that they're working for, or you're working for a client that's actually been hired out from another client, then you're communicating with multiple people. And that's where in any sort of project most of the frustrations come from, is trying to navigate how to communicate best between people who have different goals and ideal outcomes from the project, and a different expectation of timeline and willingness to concede on certain points. And then not willing to concede on other points. So that's where a lot of issues come about with any sort of project or any sort of just interaction. Communication. I'm better at it than I used to be, but I'm still not that great. I've got to deal with difficult clients. I've talked about it before, but one of my least favorite situations is if you have someone say, just do what you want to do, anything you want to do. Because that creates the sort of invitation to be like, yeah, just whatever I want to do, you'll be happy with it. But people aren't. Because people always have some sort of expectation, some sort of thing that they think will take place, whether or not they understand that, or if you understand it yourself, or you're like, anything is okay. It's not anything. You have what can I think of? You have a span. You have a selection of things that are okay. But what you understand as to be that width, that span that's acceptable, is not going to be what someone else necessarily has as their area of like acceptable. And so you have to be able to communicate that. So it's much better to be like, no, this is what I need, this is what I'd like, this is what I'm willing to concede on, but that's not how business stuff is the best necessarily, because a lot of the time it's about winning something, taking advantage of someone else. That's why I'm bad at business things. So I've had clients at times that's occurred. I'm also just personally more comfortable when people give me some sort of boundaries, give me something to work against, as opposed to, it's like, I don't know, trying to prop yourself up against a sheet that's hanging. You can't do it. You need some sort of boundary to work against. At least that's how it feels to me at times. So if I'm not given a boundary, I create one, which is like working on these letters. There's a boundary. There's some set criteria and I have to work within them. And I can push and create within those boundaries that I've given myself. And in there, I find more creative solutions. because it's not an overwhelming amount of freedom. I think something that people talk about when they come to the United States is going to like a supermarket and there being like 5 different kinds or 10 different kinds or 20 different kinds of like canned beans. And it's like, what if I make the wrong choice of canned beans? And it's like, they're all pretty much the same, but that variety can be overwhelming. And they're all competing to sell their beans. I prefer brushes and the control that I have over brushes when you just have a loose ink, when it's not confined, and I know exactly, I can visually confirm the status of all the elements. It's simplified, a bit more accessible perhaps. And it just, I prefer brushes and ink. It gives me more freedom. I can make far more choices with a brush, which goes against me being like, I need confines. But when it comes to tools, I don't like tools that are hyper specific. And markers feel that way to me. They're like too strong and too weak at the same time. Too robust with what they can do. I had a podcast with a friend for a minute that I think my brother-in-law and like 2 other friends listened to. And they liked it just because they're friends. So it was like, oh, it's a conversation. It's like I'm hanging out with you guys. And then I was on a B&H podcast. If you're unfamiliar with B&H, it's a primarily camera supply store, but they also do audio, or it's audio and visual equipment is what they produce. And so I did something with my friend Sam Cannon. I'm just trying to think how we got on the podcast. Oh no, somehow got pulled on the podcast with her, and then they talked about a photo shoot series that they were doing, and so we both were invited to that. But I did feel like I was being invited because I was already there with Sam, because she's much more a photographer. She works with cameras in a different capacity than I do, and so there's a different interest there for the B&H audience. It fit for, maybe it was a mana connection, but it fit for the podcast discussion, and it just so happened that they were like, how about you guys come and do this? But I did feel like it was directed more at Sam, not in a bad way, was not offended at all. I was happy to be included, and I like the idea of having my photo taken, because that isn't the sort of environment or the vibe that I give off, because I do like having a photo taken, but it's also not my favorite. I don't like feeling that lack of control, but I do like having attention and having a nice photo of myself. Photos that came out of it were okay. It's because of it wasn't a photographer at all, it's because I am not a model. I don't know how to behave in those situations, and I'm not as aware of how I appear and how to hold myself. It's a learned skill that I don't have. I like talking about stuff, but I'm more comfortable in this bubble that I've created than other situations. I don't know. I got more comfortable talking into a mic in college because I did college radio. So this is sort of reminiscent of that, where you just sort of keep talking and then eventually you get comfortable talking to no one. No one in particular. Or answering some small questions. Reading PSAs and just doing cold reads of things. I got better at that over time. Just seeing something and being able to read like slightly ahead of what I was saying out loud. But then if you get out of that rhythm, it trips you up. Like I just broke my rhythm just now, so I'm going silent. But I'm almost done here. Which means that we're maybe 20 minutes away from seeing this animation. Take a little bit longer to scan. Because this has 7 more stills than the last 2, which adds about 2 minutes. But before I do that, I have to set up the programs necessary to scan and realign these images, adjust the camera so it's a little bit tighter. So that the time lapse and your visual as I'm working are a little bit better. I also gotta figure out dinner. I have some chicken. Maybe I'll make chicken again. Just boil and shred some chicken so that I can have lunch. Stuff for like a chicken sandwich tomorrow. Talking out loud. Thinking out loud. More like it. Chicken does start with C, but I also had chicken on B day. And I think actually A day. I had chicken like the last 2 nights because I need to cook it and eat it while it's still good. Music tastes are broad. I'm not big on like pop country stuff, but I still like some country things here and there. As far as country is concerned, I like a bit more. Stuff like Townes Van Zandt is something that I like a lot. Let's tighten this up. Make sure this fits in here. Yep. Thank you. I have not heard of. Is that wall time? I'll let these sit for a second and try to crack my back. Also probably take off this pullover because I'm getting a little warm. Here's pretty much always a TraceLoops tee that I'm wearing. I have a studio space, but with COVID stuff, I've been staying home. Staying home is nice and not nice in different ways. It's nice to have a space to get away and be able to just leave things without feeling like it's cluttering the space as much. Not that I have a super clean living space, but have larger projects and be able to work on them and leave them and not feel obliged to either finish them or to clean up the stuff. Thank you, Alaoli, Halo Ali, Halo Ali. Check them. Okay, no issues. There's a chance I tried to overcomplicate this animation. Come on. Maybe it's perfect. I don't know. Mediums I'd want to try that I haven't. Not that I can think of offhand. Things are a bit more accessible than they used to be. I want to try getting back into pottery at some point, but I've done that in the past. Curious about wood turning, but not enough to feel like I gotta do that. More just like curious. And also intimidated by it. Because it seems dangerous. Hello. It's a copper cuff, and in those photos I up the contrast to better showcase the relief of the cuff. I have one in here. Grab that in a minute. rename, copy this, pull this up to here, paste this, and Photoshop file, scripts, load files in stack, browse, scans, put them in order, open these up, turn on display capture, and let that run for a minute while I grab the cuff that's in here. Alright, I just gotta leave that be for the moment and see where it lands. Oh, a little too high. So I have a few of these different degrees of stuff. This one's got a little bit darker with time. It's a little bit more orange because it's been patinaing. Was wearing it pretty consistently for a minute. This one is not bronze, it's copper, but bronze is a copper alloy, so they got a relationship. Okay, now let's go into frame animation, make frames for layers, reverse, point to 1. I'll get a general space of this going. There's a chance that... Nope, that's fine. One moment. Live designs. Change this to a GIF. Name's GIF. Then open it up. Get this image in here. Tamika said I had potential. Boop, ba-doop, boop. While that's running, let's grab a B test. Actually, let's run this in Premiere. It'll take a moment. You guys can watch that C do some stuff. Let's take a moment to open it up. Smells like copper. No, wrong one. Sorry. So it's this guy. Place. Import. Let's take a moment. Lab designs. C. Options. Instruments. 15. Now let's grab another image sequence. This guy, FB. Oh, that's why. Edit, rename. Can I rename? One moment. Don't need that guy. This is name. Get info. Nope. He's in order. This is 29, 28. Rename. Fix that in. And at 0. Rename. Okay. Now this should work. Why does it do that? Rename. B. Where's 2? try this one more time. Okay. Info. Yeah. Sorry. Rename. Why does it keep losing numbers? Did find that time. Okay. Here we go. Image sequence. Rename this. More out. Modified. 18. Okay. He's going as a image sequence. Change the frame rate. A. And this guy comes along. This guy comes along too. Trying to get this preview running. Let's grab this, throw this into a sequence. Sequence settings. And get this to be 1920, 1080. Scale this down a bit. A bit more. What are you guys saying? Spline to live designs 1020 ABC. Export this out. It's a high bit rate deal. This is being a little bit chaotic right now. You can have an after image sort of deal. Let's import some frames. So it'll be like 100 odd frames. curves. Brighten that up. Darken this down. 1080 there. Okay, I think it just got posted up, something that I was excited about. Which is the process video for the Shamika thing. I think that just got posted up, but I don't know how best to access it. I just got tagged in something about it. A, B, C. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. I'll say plus do, re, mi. A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, baby, you and me, girl. I'll switch these so it's above the chat. Did it crap out? I'm very good at singing. Someone asked the art form that I'd like to appeal to most is singing because I'm too good at it. So the C messes a little bit more with the pacing and the rigidity of it, which meant I had to settle on elements of it for a longer period of time. And you're going for Oscar now for feature length ABC. Anyway, that's that bit. Yep, they're looping. I wrote down today's date. What time is it? 6:13? Not that late. 11/20/20. And now these go into my file. This one's getting heavier because it's got more stills in it. Stills in it. Stills in it. Okay. There are different kinds of songs. Okay, if you have any questions, prepare them, send them my way, and I'll answer them after I go through my spiel. If you want to watch, so I'll post these, not the ABC one, but the C I will post up today on Instagram. You can get a shirt that has the frames of the A, the B, or the C shortly. The A and B are already up, but the C I'll need to edit into a thing. If you want to watch this or other live streams, mostly in full, except for instances like today where I forgot to start recording until midway into the process, you can go to YouTube and search TraceLoops and should pop up. with various live streams that I've put up. And then if you prefer to follow and watch these sorts of things, the animations themselves, you can follow me on TikTok as well. Same username, TraceLoops. If you want to buy a shirt or some other artwork and you're based in the US, head to traceloops.com/store and you can do that completely automated, your interaction with it. If you live outside the US and you're interested in making a purchase, you can direct message me or you can email me. Email is a little bit better of a method, and that email address is traceloops@traceloops.com. And so you can email me there. You're saying how you don't have TikTok? It's the same animations, it's just a different platform, and maybe a little bit of different music. But you would see the same animations, just formatted slightly differently. If you already have TikTok and you prefer that platform, I'm there as well. If you want to follow there. No obligation for any of that. I'll plan on being back tomorrow. Tomorrow it might be a shorter one. I'm not sure if I'll do the D tomorrow. I might do a still tomorrow. The weekends, I usually have some sort of obligations that I'm following, and so I'm less likely to do as long form of animations in those scenarios. But thank you all for watching. I'll probably post a link in a moment to, I believe, the process video that I edited together for the Shamika video is up, and you can watch a little bit more to get a better sense of how I created it there. That's on YouTube. I'll try to post a link to that. And yeah, if you have any last minute questions, throw them down. And if you don't get it out there by the time that I stop broadcasting or live streaming, I could make it say ACAB pretty easily. Right now it's just, wait, it does, doesn't it? Wait, AC, no, because it's AC, ABC, ABC. Anyway, you can make these letters eventually spell anything you want. But yeah, you can message me You can message me either as a DM, or you can email me if you also have questions. Yeah, and if you want to buy a shirt or something else, you can message me. Anything that has DTG on the end of it, it's going to be cheaper to ship internationally than any other products on my site, because those are fulfilled by different locations of printers, and some of them are international and they have better shipping rates than I do personally. Thank you all for watching. Plan on being back tomorrow. Might be switching off of showcase and animation tomorrow, but this is a planned continuation. Alright, I'm gonna head out. Thank you all for watching.